Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Omagnaanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. I'm very inspired by seeing actually Mataji's all, coming at this time. You might have kitchen services, etc., etc. It's very inspiring. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll continue from where we left yesterday. One second. Yeah. Okay. So verse 11. Slowly, maybe devotees can start reciting the verses. So if somebody wants to recite, you can recite the verse. If you're confident of reciting, you can practice. You can either read the English transliteration, or you can read the Hindi or Devanagari, whatever works for you. Bhurini bhuri karmani shotavyaani vibhagashah atah sadhotrayat saram samudhritya manishaya bruhi bhadraya bhutanam yenatma suprasidati. Bhurini bhuri karmani. So here, translation, there are many varieties of scriptures. Many varieties of scriptures. When you just say scriptures, everything in the Vedas are part of scriptures. Like we yesterday saw Shruti, Smriti, all of them are scriptures. And in all of them, there are many prescribed duties. So we've heard about prescribed duties in Bhagavad Gita. Swadharma, it is called Swadharma. And it is mainly based on the institution of Varnashrama. Varna and Ashrama, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Stri, and Ashrama, Brahmacharya, Prastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. So there are many prescribed duties. Different scriptures talk about different prescribed duties. And also there's one verse in Bhagavatam which says, Devarshi Bhutaptanadam Pitranam Na Kinkaro Nayam Ranita Rajan. Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Paryartha Kritam. So for a human being, specifically, there are 6 kinds of obligations towards Deva, Rishi, Devatas, Rishis, Bhuta, general living entities, Apta, close family, Apta, Nrinam, human beings, Pitranam, Pitrus, ancestors. So 6 kind of obligations for human beings specifically. So there are so many rules and regulations. And fortunately or unfortunately, if one knows, then he or she is protected from sinful activities, because not doing them is sinful. Not following prescribed duties is sinful. So Krishna actually in Bhagavad Gita says Swadharmam, you have to do Swadharma. And there are many scriptures which detail, so there are Dharma Shastras, etc., etc. But all these can be learned only after many years of study in their various divisions. So there are various divisions and it takes a lot of time to understand all this, practice properly, etc. But here, so this is the second question. Like I said, the rishis asked six questions. This is the second question. Oh sage, please select the essence of all these scriptures. Because there are so many scriptures. Please select the essence of all these scriptures and explain it for the good of all living beings. All scriptures are for the good only. But you take the essence, which is for the good, but which does what? By such instruction, their hearts may be fully satisfied. So this is very important. Actually, see, we might engage in all kinds of prescribed duties, but our heart will not be satisfied. We will just do it because we've been told to do. But real satisfaction of the heart, that we should only take the essence of all the scriptures. So Prabhupada makes an amazing, statement in the purport, So he says, Atma is distinguished from matter and material elements. It is spiritual in constitution. Thus, it is never satisfied by any amount of material planning. So he's talking about what will satisfy the self. What will satisfy us? So he's saying, Atma is never satisfied by material planning because Atma is spiritual. All scriptures and spiritual instructions are meant for the satisfaction of the Atma. So when normally we engage in chanting, what happens? Our mind is just doing planning. You see, observe, we're just in mode of planning. Oh, what I should do next, this, that, I have to go here. Because we have so many activities. There's so many activities, material activities, that we actually end up in material planning. Chanting becomes a material planning session. But actually, if this material planning would have satisfied us, we would have stopped. See, satisfaction means once having got it, you are not looking for anything else. But we do material planning every day during chanting, and just keeps going on and on, which means that we are never satisfied by this. And this is, such an enlightening statement by Srila Prabhupada. So which is why we should drop material planning process during chanting. Because it's not going to satisfy the self, and of course it is aparadha, nama aparadha, to be chanting inattentively. So sometime we will talk about chanting after we make some, at least maybe we finish first canto, then we can talk about chanting. So it is never satisfied by any amount of material planning. So then people will ask, okay, then if I don't do material planning, who will take care of me? Who will take care of my future? So there is a beautiful, again, there are so many things to be discussed. It's just so many things to be known, to be understood, to be applied, to be discussed amongst devotees. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually has written a series of song books actually. One is called Charanagati. So the 6 aspects of surrender that we discussed in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, verse 66, where Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja. This verse is quoted from Hari Bhakti Vilas, which says, Anukulyasya Sankalpaha Pratikulyasya Varjanam Rakshishati Vishwaso Goptrutve Varnam Tata Atmanikchepa Karpanyu Shudvida Sharanagati. So this is 6 aspects of Sharanagati. Sharanagati doesn't mean some mental thing. There are practical aspects to surrender. And this verse talked about it. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his series of songs called Sharanagati, he's explained each of these aspects, 6 aspects, how to understand, how to apply. So he says, actually, I'm saying that, telling the gist, but I'm also inspired to actually sometime sing these songs and understand deeply the meaning. So it's beautiful, actually. We should always, whenever we get a chance, we should hear bhajans of our Vaishnava Acharyas. And there are so many Hindi songs which are there, which glorify Krishna, etc. But they don't reveal transcendental knowledge. Actually, they sometimes, I would say, is the word, beyond our qualification of. So like, for example, say some song will say, like, we'll ask Krishna to engage in our service. Like, philosophically wrong, they might sound nice, they might sound like devotional, but they don't have the right mood, many songs. So we should be very careful. hearing Hindi songs or any songs for that matter, unless it is given by acharyas. It could be one of the authorized paramparas, and specifically our acharyas, mind-boggling simplicity. It's so simple and it's so straightforward. It directly hits the heart, right? Simple language Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given. So he says, what is the role of a grihastha? How should a grihastha live his life? What is Atmanivedana? This is Atmanivedana in the 6 aspects of Sharanagati, surrender. So he says actually we should just live as a servant of Krishna's house. So when this house itself belongs to Krishna, we are just the servant. So why servant is so bothered about future, and the owner will take care of it. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that I will just engage in your service, whatever you given me responsibility of taking care, earning money, taking care of this household, which is full of devotees, and I will just do that without any material attachment. I will just look at it this way, saying that this is my service. So these are all spiritual entities. They are all servants of Krishna, and I'm just serving other devotees. In fact, Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj says that actually a husband and wife who are initiated and who are practicing Vaishnavism strictly, as soon as they get up, they have to offer obeisances to each other. And he also says that the Prabhus, men, have to try to do some service to the women, to the wives, because they are Vaishnavis. So this is the mode actually. So house is actually temple, Krishna's place. So we don't have to worry about future and get entangled in this society about future, what will happen, children, their future, our future, who will take care. Not required. And anyway, it's not going to satisfy us. It's only going to increase our anxiety. And when anxiety increases, where is place for Krishna? It's very simple. The more we get detached, in the sense disconnected from these thoughts, material thoughts, the less material thoughts, the more thoughts about Krishna. It's simple, very, very simple balance. It's like a balance. There are 2 sides. One is material, the other is spiritual. If material thoughts decrease, spiritual thoughts, Krishna's thoughts about Krishna increase. If material thoughts increase, then there's no time, space in the mind for Krishna. Thoughts about Krishna. Krishna says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto. That means that we have to give up all this anxiety, concerns about material life, and just surrender to Krishna. Depend on him, he will take care. He is given assurance. Yoga kshemam vahamyam. Tesham satata yuktanam vitam priti purvam dadami buddhi yogam tam. He will also guide us in our spiritual progress. Everything he is saying, he will do. So then why are we concerned? Because we don't have full faith in Krishna. That is why Sharanagati, that is why Krishna says, Maam ekam. Don't depend on yourself also. Do your duty. Don't depend. Don't think that it's my ability only. Or if you go to a doctor, it is the doctor's ability that I'm going to get. No, it is Krishna. So this material planning, associated material consciousness, all of that has to be reduced. And how do we do that? By engaging more in Krishna's service, chanting, reading, doing practical services. Asking if we are associated with some center, asking devotees who are running the center, how can I serve? What can I do? The more we become, Prabhupada said, the more we become anxious spiritually for Krishna, the less the entanglement will get cut by itself. Material entanglement will get cut off. And we should not be worried. Material entanglement means I will become an alien in this material world. No. It is just the initial phase where we feel alien. Actually, as we make progress, we get more connected to people at the spiritual level, even relatives, friends, everybody. I've experienced this. Previously I used to just be away from relatives, but then I realized today, saying that no. Actually, compassion means connecting with them at a spiritual level, giving them even spiritual association. Even if we spend some time with them, we might be talking some useless general topics, right? Just for to build that relation, but they will get affected because spiritual strength is like that. But for all that, our sadhana has to be pakka. We should be able to do pakka sadhana. So this is the beauty, right? So we have to, when we read Bhagavatam, so the whole Bhagavatam is the essence of all scriptures. And it will satisfy our heart fully satisfy, not partially satisfy, fully satisfy. So what we'll also do, another practice is at the end of each chapter. We will read the translations only at one shot, like a storyline. Because first I want all of us to hear the tattva. Then we will also absorb ourselves in the mood of the flow of the Bhagavatam. Actually, the flow of Bhagavatam itself is like nectar. But we will not be able to relish this in the beginning. It will take some time. But it's amazing. When you start reading Bhagavatam, actual start reading Bhagavatam, and then we will actually, we will feel the nectar. We will experience the nectar. So okay, one more thing. At the end of every session, I'm going to ask devotees to tell what are the important key takeaways. And I want all of you to participate. Otherwise, what is the use of these sessions? The use of these sessions are you take away 1, 2, 3 things in a day, in a session, which is of practical applicability. So you have to just, you have your mobile, you have a small, you have a book and pen, whatever, right? So you make, because there will be some very important aspects on which there would have been more stress. At least you should capture those points in your practical application. Okay. Moving forward. Verse 12. Tutajanasi badram te bhagavan satvatam patihi devakyam vasudevasya jato yasya chikirshaya. All blessings upon you, O Suta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of God had appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. So this is another question. This is the third question. Saying, why did Krishna appear in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva? So here, there's one beautiful word called Satvatam. And Prabhupada explains that in the actually, Sat means absolute truth. Sat Sangha. What Sat Sangha means? Sangha, association of the real truth of Sat. Asat means that which is not real. So Sat Sangha means actually associating with truth, absolute truth. Then those who are surveyors of the absolute truth are called Sattvatas. Prabhupada is saying. Persons who are surveyors of the absolute truth are called Sattvatas. So now Krishna is called Sattvatam Patihi. Sattvatam Pati. So there are another verse subsequently by Kunti Maharani, I think. So where Krishna is described as Pati of various, he is actually the master of everything. So here it is Sattvatam Pati, because he is the master of the pure devotees. Sattvatam means pure devotees, not mixed devotees. Of course, Krishna protects all devotees to the extent of their surrender, but he absolutely protects pure devotees who are known as Sattvatas. So here it says God is equally disposed to everyone, but he is especially inclined to his devotees. Especially inclined to his devotees. So this is also very important. He is inclined to us to, if we have faith in him, if we depend on him. See, as Paramatma, slightly technical information, as Paramatma who is in our heart, his role is Anumanta Upadrushta. So he is overseer and permitter. He oversees our activities and he permits. Permits based on what? Based on whether we deserve it or not. So, and also he gives us intelligence to continue our previous propensities, whatever we wanted to achieve from previous life, because we forget when we change body. And he reminds us, gives us intelligence to go in that direction. But this is just impartial, because if somebody wants to rob a house, he will give that intelligence also, because that jiva wants to do that. But for devotees, he gives dadami buddhi yogam tam. So in the sense, even though suppose devotees are engaged in service and they're stuck with some anarthas, and Krishna will give intelligence. No, this is nothing to do with previous life or previous karma or anything like that. It is just something that the devotee requires to make progress in devotion service. Krishna gives that intelligence. But this is because he is specially inclined. He is not just following his portfolio of Paramatma, what is my duty as Paramatma, only Anuvanta Upadishta. No, he is specially inclined and he will specially protect such devotees. This is especially inclined. And when we say, the Lord is especially inclined to devotees, people don't like it. Why? He must be equally disposed to everyone. Yes, he is equally disposed to everyone. This is Achintya. Because he's not that he's being impartial to other people. He's just doing justice to everybody. But he's especially inclined, meaning additional. Not that because of that somebody is being neglected or because, so these are not mutually exclusive. So Krishna is being equally disposed to everyone, but at the same time, he is especially inclined to devotees. And he is a protect. So he's Satvatampati. So he's Satvatampati. So he's saying this Bhagavan Satvatampati, why did he appear as a son of Devaki and Vasudeva? Other way of thinking about this question is also he's actually the son of Nanda and Yashoda. Anyway, so that we will talk about in the 10th. Why did he appear in son of Vasudeva and Devaki? What was his intention? So you know this. So you please enlighten us about this. So this is the third question they're asking. Tanna sushushamananam arshasyangaanu varnitum yasyavataru bhutanam kshemaya cha bhavaya cha. O Suta Goswami, we are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his incarnations. This is the fourth question. We are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his avatars. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by previous acharyas, for one is uplifted both by speaking them and by hearing them. So this is a very important. So here actually Prabhupada is outlining the condition for hearing. Conditions for hearing. What should be the condition for hearing? The conditions for hearing the transcendental message are set forth herein. Because it says one is uplifted both by speaking and by hearing. And what is the qualification eager to learn? So the first condition is that the audience must be very sincere and eager to hear. And so if you want to make progress in spiritual life, we should be sincere. Why sincere? Not that we are simply hearing and then we are discounting something, or we are not believing half of what is being heard. If you don't believe, or if you don't trust the speaker, don't hear him. Because if you hear, you should be sincere, and we should be willing to accept based on Shastra, not blind acceptance. But we should be sincere. If we have doubts, we should ask, and we should be eager. Eagerness. So I keep, getting concerned. People are so busy. If we do 2 sessions in a week, will people attend? Because it's very difficult to find devotees who are very eager to hear. Actually, very heartening to say. Actually, we've been doing our afternoon. We do Kannada Bhāgavatam. We've been doing it now for more than a year, and devotees have been consistently attending. And it just enthuses me when I see their eagerness to hear. Initially, I was feeling I don't have so much eagerness to glorify the Lord. They have so much eagerness to hear. And by their mercy now, I also developed eagerness to glorify Bhagavatam. So it is amazing actually how, this hearing, Shravanam and Kirtanam work. So we should be sincere and eager to hear. And speaker must be in the line of disciplic succession. Transcendental message. Again, see, these are the gems. I call them the gems in Prabhupada's purpose. Transcendental message is not understandable by those who are materially absorbed. Not understandable. Now, what does materially absorbed means? Materially absorbed means they have no idea about them being Atma, that they have something else to do in this material world. They are just engaged in money, comforts, happiness connected to the material. Every moment of their life, they are just absorbed in trying to figure out these things. They cannot understand the transcendental message. That is why we don't, it is very difficult to bring people into Krishna consciousness. So, which is why Prabhupada first said, just give Kirtan and Prasadam. Give them Kirtan and Prasadam and some basic philosophy, at least saying, okay, who is Krishna? Who are you? But they may not completely understand, but they will come because they like Kirtan, doing Kirtan, and they like Prasadam. Only if somebody is like, there are different types of people, right? Extremely materially absorbed people, only Kirtan and Prasadam. Those who are not so materially absorbed, a little bit inquisitive, little bit discriminate, trying to discriminate good, bad, trying to understand the world around, for them we can give philosophy and they'll be able to understand. So this is also a tool for guidance for preachers. We should know how to engage with the audience. Not that it is the same thing for everybody. So it's very important. So this is important, right? So so it has to be, and those imparted by acharyas. So we have to hear in disciplic succession, because by hearing and speaking, one is uplifted. And this upliftment, like I will repeatedly keep saying, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you have little free time, try to study Bhagavatam for more than 1 hour, more than 2 hours. You will see how you will experience upliftment in your consciousness. Will really uplift. It's very, very powerful. But we have to focus on statements like this. Transcendental messages. So by those who are materially absorbed. So if we are materially absorbed, then we should try to reduce this absorption, because we know that then we cannot enter into the secret of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So these are very nice. Prabhupada sets our minds. आपन्न संस्कृतिं घोरां यन्नाम विवशो कृणन् ततः सद्यो विमुच्येत यद्भिबेति स्वयं भयम्. Very nice verse. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death. It is complicated. This material world is extremely complicated. Karma phala, the laws of karma are extremely complicated. We have absolutely no clue. We do something and it has so many repercussions. So many repercussions. Extremely complicated. If somebody says, that is why Krishna says that this karma is very, very complicated, very, very intricate, very delicate, difficult to understand. So we are entangled here. Just imagine like it's a spaghetti. It's like, just so difficult. If you have a ball of woolen or something, and it has got entangled, it's so difficult to untie it. It is like this. Our material life is like this. You try to entangle one piece, somewhere else it will go and a knot will get formed. So it's very difficult. It is complicated. But those who are entangled can be freed immediately. Please understand this. This immediately, by even unconsciously chanting, not consciously, not with love, even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. The very beginning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, glorification of the holy name. Glorification of the holy name. Right? And we will not talk much about the holy name right now. 6th canto specifically, pastimes of Ajamila talk about glories of holy name. And time and again, we'll discuss few aspects about this. But even unconsciously, unconsciously literally means that one is unconscious, as in he doesn't have external consciousness, or he is just not even giving attention to it. It is why, advantage being born in a country like India, because so many people will have names Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, etc. So even unconsciously, simply taking Nama, Krishna, somebody, Krishna, we'll be freed immediately. So this we can't understand. This we might say, no, how can we get freed? No, we should not doubt the glories of the holy name, because it is Nama Parad. But if you don't understand, it's okay. We just accept, okay, Bhagavatam is saying that we can be freed immediately. That means that we can be freed immediately. So if we are not getting freed immediately, then we are doing something wrong. And that is Nama Aparada. So we will come to all that later. Okay. So this is the glory of holy name. And we know in Shikshastaka, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha. Etatrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mama Bhidu Taiva Mitachamya Janina Anuragaha. So Nama and Nama Chintamani Chaitanya Sarasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. The Nama and Nami are Abhinna. Krishna and Krishna's name are not different. It's very difficult to understand. Very, very difficult to understand. For example, just parallel I can give. For example, when suppose say we call out some person. So if I call person's name, then that person, then immediately then there is connection with that person. That person will say, yes. But the name of that person and that person are different. The name is a way to connect or call that person, or associate or link to that person. But Krishna's name is not just a link to Krishna's form. Krishna's name itself is Krishna. So which means that one we can simply understand, if I call name, then I anyway connect to the person. So in the material world, if I pick up the phone and I call the name, I anyway get connected to the person. But here, Krishna's name itself is Krishna. So, okay, little more, maybe, it's very difficult to understand. That's why I said. So suppose I call the name of a person, still that person has to, either he should have heard me, he has to respond. But I can't just by calling out the name. Okay, let me give this example. Same by water, right? So suppose we are thirsty. By just taking the name, by just saying water, my thirst is not going to be quenched, because the name water is different from the actual substance water. So the name of a person in this material world is different from the actual person. So if we need something to be done with that person, then we'll call the name, then we'll tell him what we have to do, etc., etc. Then he will, but it is like a hyperlink, in technical terms, it's like a hyperlink to that person. But the Nama of Krishna is Krishna only. It's not a hyperlink, meaning his Nama is just not something material. His Nama is also spiritual. His Nama is actually non-different from Krishna, because everything about Krishna is spiritual. So when we that is why Prabhupada said, just hear, because it's not that we have to wait to see Krishna. Krishna, okay, I'm waiting to see you. Krishna says in Bhāgavatam 10th Canto to the wives of the Brahmana, he says, no, don't come and try to associate with me. Just simply hear and chant. You will associate with me, because my Nama is not different from me. So Krishna Nama is not different from Krishna. That's all, simple. We have to just accept it. That is why when we are chanting, when we say Krishna, Krishna is there, because Krishna is anyway omnipresent, right? And when we specifically call him out, he's there, he's present, because we are saying Krishna, because Krishna equals Krishna, as in Krishna's Nama equals Krishna. So Krishna is present. And then our mind goes here and there. What an offense. And when we say Krishna, Krishna is there. But we have to call with little love and affection, saying, Krishna, please come, like that. So when you say Krishna, Krishna is present. Immediately reciprocates. He doesn't need any, he's not waiting for us to put some red carpet and all that. He just wants bhakti. With love and devotion, if you call Krishna, he's present. Whatever our qualification, wherever we are. But then we call Krishna and then we are like distracted. We are too attached to material things, material planning, etc., etc. So Krishna's Nama is non-different from Krishna. Non-different. Non-different means like non-different, as in, I have limitation to explain this topic, because I have not fully realized, but I understand what it means. Realization is not happened. But yes, Krishna means when I say Krishna, it is Krishna. I don't have to do anything else to connect with Krishna, because when I say Krishna, Krishna is there. Because Krishna's name is Krishna. Which means everything that we can experience by being in presence of Krishna. For example, when Bhāgavatam, when we hear, devotees are always happy in the presence of Krishna, because Krishna is always joking. Krishna has so many qualities. Now, all this are devotee experiences. Just simply taking the name of. That is why the Nama opens up the Rupa, Guna, Leela, everything of the Lord, because everything is present in the Nama. Because it is all non-different, so it is inconceivable. But so powerful Nama is. I'm this is glorifying Nama. I'm saying, doing this because you're all devotees chanting Hare Krishna. This much glorification should not be done for newcomers, because that becomes another Nama Prada, because they might just offend. But please understand, this chanting process we are doing, we should do it with lot of more faith, more attention, more love. Prabhupada said, try to chant with love. And somewhere else he said, you should try to love Krishna. I said, like, how do you, or he said, you should learn to love Krishna. I said, how do you learn to love a person? Actually, learn means simply hearing. When we simply hear about the beautiful qualities of Krishna, his form, etc., automatically we develop attachment. Automatically, it is not possible that somebody has heard about Krishna and not got attached to Krishna. It just means that we have not heard. Simple. We just not heard about Krishna. Because Krishna is such a person. Krishna means all attractive. Anyway, so point is that his holy name is so powerful, not different from him, that even if we unconsciously chant, it can free us from this entanglement, stuck. We are badly stuck. Of course, see, we should also understand one thing. Krishna will not do anything beyond, he will not transgress our desires. For example, if I want, no, Krishna, I want to remain entangled in this material world. I'll say, okay, what can I do? Chanting my nama can actually disentangle you, but you want to be entangled. I mean, he feels like concerned and sad for us, saying that, oh, what is chanting my name, but he wants to still be attached to material things. But he will not overrule it. He will not overrule our desire. So that is why we have to hear. Krishna is saying to us, no, don't get too attached to material things. Be prepared to get out of this entanglement. Then when we chant here the name with that consciousness, then it frees us. It's just a matter of time. So in that 6th canto, I will discuss Sajamila pastimes, a lot of things about holy name that we won't have even heard of, because we require a little bit of constant hearing and purification before we can get into so many details about the holy name. So we'll do that later. And if anybody has any questions, you can kindly interrupt in the verse 15. Pada samshaya suta munaya prashamayana sadya punanti upasprishtaha swardunya nu sevaya. O Suta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. There's glories of sadhu sangha. Glories of sadhu sangha. So here, verse is saying, at once. Again, it doesn't take too much time. Prabhupada actually writes some very nice things in the purport. So he says, to take shelter of the Lord means to take shelter of pure devotees. Beautiful. See, because we'll be wondering, how do I take Sharanagati? How do I surrender to the Lord completely? Surrender to his pure devotee completely. By this one is purified. And such pure devotees are honored equally with the Lord. Why? Because they are involved in the most confidential service of the Lord. Krishna wants every jiva to get this knowledge, become Krishna conscious and go back. So because these pure devotees are engaged in that, they are engaged in the most confidential service. So they are honored equally with the Lord. Disciple considers Guru equal to the Lord. Not saying that, okay, my Guru is only Krishna. And once somebody did like this when Prabhupada was present on this material world, and just dismissed that person off. He threw him out of his ISKCON, saying, don't come back. You're going to spoil everything. Guru must be respected, honored as equal to the Lord, because Guru says something as a prasadat, Bhagavad prasada. But we don't go about saying, no, my Guru is Supreme Lord. That is not correct. And right, though he is a representative of the Supreme Lord, he has to be honored as equally to the Supreme Lord, but he's not the Supreme Lord. There's a difference. So those who are representatives of the lotus feet of the Lord, Srila Prabhupada says, they get the name Prabhupada or Vishnupada. Those who are representatives of the lotus feet of the Lord, which means representatives of the lotus feet means what? That they are carrying on the service of what the confidential service that the Lord has given, which is to wake up sleeping souls. So Prabhupada, when we say Prabhupada, what does it mean? That he is representative of the lotus feet of the Lord. So taking shelter of lotus feet of the Lord means taking shelter of lotus feet of pure devotees. And it says water of Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. It's the association of a pure devotee is much more powerful than Ganges. Ganges also came from the lotus feet of the Lord only. But still the pure devotees are, Lord has empowered them, given them more power. So they are considered as more purifying than water of the. Okay. 16. Ko va bhagavatastasya punyashlokedya karmanah shuddhikamo na shrunuyad yashah kalimalapaham. Who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel? Vices we already discussed. Breaking the 4 regulative principles are the main way of vices. From the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? Who is there? Who is there desiring deliverance? If somebody is not desiring deliverance, then they don't want to hear the virtuous glories of Lord. But if somebody is desiring deliverance, he is definitely going to be willing to hear the glories of the Lord. And so we should understand that if we are desiring deliverance, then we should engage in Shravanam. We cannot say, no, I don't have time, or this and that and all that. And Prabhupada says in this purport, saying that in the name of secular state, people are not being given this opportunity. People just say all religions equal, this, that, and all that. But at the end of the day, they don't create opportunities for hearing, because there are so many people who are desiring deliverance, but we cannot reach them. Like for example, there should be radio channels created, TV channels created. Government should encourage these things. Then those people who are desiring deliverance, they will come, because they will be willing to hear virtuous glories of the Lord. And for our own practical application, if we are serious, then we should do Shravanam. We should do Shravanam as much as possible. Tasya karmani udarani parigitani suribihi bruhi nashraddhananam leelaya dadatah kala. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious. And great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. So this is the 5th thing. This is the 5th thing. 5th question. Please explain his adventures in his various incarnations. Why? Because we are eager to hear. We are very eager to hear. And so here in the purport, Prabhupada is just giving us a hint of what this material world is like. So he says, material world is likened to a cinema. Cinema. What happens in a cinema? We go to a cinema, we are sitting, we are watching. Nowadays it's all at home mostly. So we are seeing a cinema. Then cinema, there is a hero, heroine, some villain, and we get so engrossed, we literally feel like we are part of the storyline. So they attract people of less intelligent caliber, who are attracted by false things. So sometimes, some people will be looking at seeing a movie and crying, and others will say, hey, what is this? Just a movie. Why are you crying? Less intelligent. So we can relate to this to a movie. Who is seeing this movie and getting emotionally attached, feeling bad for what happened to somebody in the movie, etc. So this material world is just like a movie. So if we become too engrossed in this material world, it is like that person who is crying looking at the movie. So we should understand, saying that this is not this is just like a dream. Meaning it's not that it is unreal. It is real to the extent that we are in the dream. For example, if we are here, if we are seeing a dream, and we are going somewhere, that all, till we are in the dream, it is real only. We can't make out that it is not real. Because actually, Prabhupada says in Bhāgavatam, saying that the subtle body actually goes and enters another gross body, which is there in the dream. So literally, we've left our body here, gross body, and gone, and we are actually literally there in that whatever we are experiencing. That's why people experience fear, all kinds of emotions in dream, because literally the subtle body and the soul have moved into that gross body, which is in that dream. So picture ke andar picture, it's like that. So the realities in the spiritual world, we have entered into this dream-like situation where we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. So we are in this material world. So then what should we do? We should prepare to wake up. Our whole focus should be, let me wake up. Now, because we have come in touch with Krishna consciousness, we have 10%, we have woken up. 10% we have woken up. We should 100% we should be awake. 100% means all the time we should understand this material world is not the place for me. It is just a prison. I'm here for rectification. I should rectify myself and go back to Krishna. So please remember, whenever we get attached to anything of this material world, remember it is a cinema. It is just like these are the things why I keep emphasizing the need to read Srila Prabhupada's purports. Could we have ever thought that, okay, material world can be compared to a cinema? No. And when that comparison is made, it's so easy to understand the irrelevance of this material world. It's so easy, isn't it? So please read Prabhupada's purports with attention, and it will actually clear a lot of things for us. Clear a lot of things will become clear in our understanding of Shastra. Because when we talk about all these things, don't get too attached to material world. Not everybody can understand. But when you say, see, this material world is like a cinema, will you cry for somebody of course, some people will also cry now, but then no, but it's not right to cry, right? For somebody in the cinema, I say, yeah, it's not right to cry. I'm just too emotional. And you can say, see, material life is also like that. You should not just cry over this material world, because this material world is designed like that. It is directed by the Lord based on every individual jiva's karma, and that's what it is. And so it is cinema. So anyway, so the point here is adventures he performs in his incarnations. Please speak to us about it. अथ आख्या हि हरेर्धीमन्नवतार कथा शुभा लील विदधत स्वैरम ईश्वरस्यात्ममायया. Oh, Vaisuta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord are performed by his internal powers. So, various incarnations, we understand Sambhavami Atma Maya, Krishna appears by his internal potency, and he does various pastimes. So, they're saying, please narrate all these various pastimes, various adventures. 19. Vayam tu na vitrupyama uttama shloka vikrame yachunvatam rasajnanam sadhu sadhu pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personal God. We don't get tired. And hear this, I remember Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If he started a, discourse, it would be like minimum 3 hours. He will simply just go on and on and on and on and on speaking. And people used to have that purity, sattvic, mindset to sit and hear. And that is why he was very impressed with, Srila Prabhupada. Abhay Charan likes to hear. But ISKCON we see actually here it is very easy. Nobody's video is on, so we absolutely no idea who is hearing, who is sleeping. In classes, physical classes you give, you see after half an hour, people are already dozing. How much ever interesting the class might be, how much ever relevant it might be, dozing, seeing here and there, seeing their watch, tired of hearing. So those who are not tired of hearing means we are making progress. Irrespective of how tired we might be. As soon as we start hearing about Krishna, we should wake up. That is the power of Shravanam, right? And that depends on our purity as well. We never tire of hearing who is glorified by Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka. Krishna is called Uttama Shloka because he is glorified by transcendental prayers. So this is very nice. See, those who have developed taste for transcendental relationships with him, relish sharing of his pastimes at every moment. Okay, so I will briefly talk about this. In the third verse, right, we talked about how Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is describing rasas. It is rasamalayam, and we should actually relish the rasa. So we should understand that now going forward, right, wherever the Supreme Lord is involved in his various incarnations, himself or his various incarnations, there are always devotees. And each of these devotees who are described in Bhagavatam, there is a relationship. They have a certain relationship, and the whole pastime describes to us or helps us understand the mood of the devotee, mood of the Lord, how this reciprocation is happening. So one who has developed this taste to say, okay, I want to understand what is this relationship between Kunti Maharani and Krishna? What is the relationship between Bhishma Dev and Krishna? Does Bhishma Dev actually like to worship Krishna or some other form? This is taste for the relationship. So when we develop this taste for hearing, for understanding transcendental relationship of the Lord and his devotee, then we will relish hearing Bhagavatam at every moment. Because every moment there is some devotee, offering service in a particular way, in certain love, affection, and Lord is reciprocating, and we will relish it, saying, "Oh, so nice." But this is this mood. This is Dasya mood. This is Sakhya mood. This is Vatsalya mood. This is Madhurya mood. So when we are hearing Śrīmad Bhagavatam, we should automatically be, trying to understand the rasa. That's why I was saying that is the main difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, even though there is rasa of Arjuna, we cannot understand it because it's very, very raw. That time we cannot understand the rasa. So we focus more on tattva. But Bhagavatam, now having understood Bhagavad Gita tattva, following that in our life, if we have developed this taste for this rasa, then we will relish hearing Bhagavatam at every moment. If you don't have this, then it look like some historical narration or some, especially so many places where there is description about the Lord. Initially, when I was reading this, I was thinking, why it is the same form of the Lord? Why is it being described again and again? Or even creation, for example. Why creation has to be described so many times? So somebody who is looking at the Lord in Shanta or Dasya and saying, "Oh, my Lord is so great," he wants to glorify. So we should understand that mood. So it's very important actually. So we should come to this. We should try to understand the underlying relation. And Prabhupada makes some 2-3 very important points. He says the light of transcendental literatures becomes more luminous with progressive reading and realization. And the light of literature becomes, okay, here he also says that anyone may read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam repeatedly throughout his whole life, and yet he'll find in them new light. Why? Because transcendental news is dynamic. It's transcendental news, like a newspaper or a channel. It is dynamic because it keeps changing, or there are newer and newer things which get revealed because it's so deep. So we don't get tired. And he says that the more light becomes more luminous with progressive reading and realization. So as we read more, we become more pure, the light becomes brighter, we have more realizations, suddenly we will understand the same subject matter in a different way, and so on, right? So it is never ending. Nobody can say. That's why I keep asking, how many times should we read Bhagavatam? It's a trick question. We should read till this body is there. Read till this body is there. Okay. So with this, I think we will close here. It's 8:57. Verse 19. Yeah. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada. If somebody has any questions, you can please ask. And I will ask at the end.